Welcome, everybody. We've got a great edition of Practical Pet Chat, the business edition. And Lorin, I want to not only welcome everyone, but I want to welcome you. And I want to piggytail off of something that we were talking about in our last episode.
Piggy
And
tail?
I, piggytail? No? Am I
Piggy tail?
offending? Am I offending the
Piggyback?
piggies out there? Yeah,
Piggyback?
piggyback. Piggyback. I want to make sure though, because I thought this was really good, really important. Uniqueness, and piggy tails are unique. Every piggy tail is different. So are dog tails, so are cat tails. I'm big on that
Okay.
apparently. But I want to make sure that we continue that conversation because this is something I know we both get a lot as folks are constantly reviewing what they're doing, not only in their stores, but in their brands, within their product lines. How do I stay unique? And what's interesting is I'll ask them, what does that mean to you? What does unique mean to you? So before I share any of those feedback, I want to ask you what I asked them. Being unique, what does that mean to you? And how did you approach it?
So, one of the things we've talked about this before, you and I, it makes me crazy when I'm in a lot of retailer groups and somebody will post, does anybody sell XYZ? How does it do for you? Do you have a lot of people who buy it? How much floor space did you give it? Um, those kinds of things. Because I sit there and I'm like, you're not in the same place these other people are. You're not in the same town, same state, same demographic, don't operate the same way, same street, same block, same money, income area. Nothing is the same. What sells for this store doesn't mean it's going to sell for your store. And is that what you want? Because you could just walk into any big box store, write down all their brands, and then open up your own store and copycat it. It's a cheater way out. It's a way of being one of the many and not creating anything that stands out. And a lot of times I think it's done from fear. I don't, I want to know that something's going to sell before I bring it in. And I don't want to invest if I'm going to lose money on it. And so I'm looking for reassurance. Okay. Well, some of the biggest brands in the industry have never been in my store and would never be in my store because they didn't fit who I was as a brand. Um, and that works great for me. That doesn't mean that the store half a mile, 10 miles, whatever away that decided to put that in their store isn't going to do fine with it. It's just that I can't get behind it because it's not something I believe in and it doesn't fit why my shoppers are coming to me. In fact, there was standing jokes where people would bring up particular brands, say, I better never see that in here. And I'd be like, don't worry, that brand will never be in here because it doesn't fit for who we are. But it makes no sense to copy anything any other store is doing, including a store in your area, because what difference does it make? It's not who you are and it's not who they are to be each other. The redundancy is defeating. You're going to end up not getting where you want to be. My store was, fortunately, I'm really lucky, but I worked at it too. Really, really busy, profitable store. We did really well for pretty much the whole time that we existed. But we changed a lot. We evolved. We didn't get stuck in this is how we did it when we opened. It worked then. It's going to work now. It's always worked. Really?
Sure.
Because I'm thinking that your bottom line may be reflecting that it's not. You're not growing it. You're not getting new customers. You're not expanding beyond it. You're not going with, the way things are progressing. We've talked about the unfortunate dilution of really knowledgeable people at our retail levels, just because stores have closed or people have gone away, gotten out of the business, retired, whatever it is. And the same thing happens in those situations. You end up not having the kind of store that can give you the information that those stores provided. Those become cookie cutter stores. So you have to work at being unique. I would not only constantly review and look at new products, I would ask for samples. Can you get me some to try out? Can you get me enough that I can give to some key customers that I know are going to tell me the truth about, this product sucked. Why did it suck? Well, here's why. No, that's not really a good reason. Can you give me more? You know, some guidelines, some feedback beyond the fact that I'm going to try it too. And it's not a way to get free product. My Most vendors knew me and my store well enough to know that, listen, I need to know. I either would take a chance for a reduced amount of investment and a guarantee that if this doesn't work out, that I'm not keeping it, or I will try this many of them, and they were very amenable at that time to, let me just send you a case, try it out, see how it goes, get back to me. Um, but I also kind of knew before I looked at something whether or not I thought it would be a good fit. And as time went on and I got better at my products and what I knew about products and what I knew about food, I knew whether or not something was going to work well. It just came down to, for example, palatability, those kinds of things. Um, but but I think I see too often, I'll walk into stores and then later on I'll think, what store did I see that at? Because it didn't stand out at me. The store itself wasn't unique enough for me to even remember where I saw that product to go back to it. There should be something else about your store, whether it's the interaction, whether it's the variety of things that you have, whether it's your knowledge, whether it's the, feeling welcome, whether it's the cleanliness. Oh my gosh, we should do a whole thing on cleanliness. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's
No.
staggering. It's
Yeah.
staggering how dismally bad some of these stores are. Um, and and I really think that when I understood that I was getting rewarded for being unique, and the reward would come in the form of new clients, the response of existing clients, the word of mouth that got out. The other thing too is I changed my store all the time. I
Sure.
changed where products were all the time, to the irritation sometimes of some clients. They're like, every time I come in this store, something's changed. And I'm like, yep, we'll keep you on your toes. And I don't apologize for it. And they're like, I've had clients go, why do you change shit all the time? You're moving stuff all the time. I can never just go and get it. And I go, but what'd you see along the way? Because I interacted with my clients and played with them and said, but the whole idea is for you to see other things. I'll tell you what, if it makes you that mad, call me and tell me you're coming. I'll have your product waiting up front. There's a way
I
to
love
get
that.
around
Yeah.
everything. So,
So
go ahead.
no, so here's something so I'm gonna go a little different than you. Um, so I'm a data guy. I know you love data as well, but I have no problem with, hey, what's working for you all? Um, I like getting that feedback. Because if I'm asking a group of trusted people or people that I at least know where their scope and focus is, I can then take that information and say, yeah, that applies to me, that doesn't apply to me. So I do like that because that's better than just seeing it scrolling on the online
How do you
programs.
know it applies to you? If you don't run your store the same way, if you don't have the
Well,
same philosophy,
that's the point though. So if I'm in these groups, and there's a lot of groups where I don't know, so I couldn't, you got to diminish the feedback at that point. But there's a lot of groups where I may know, several key people, and if those several key people go, yeah, this is working for me, oh, that's going to tick up on the interest level for me. If I'm operating all the different ways that you said, or I've got that similar philosophy, I at least know it's something I should look at or consider. But I will say too, if everybody says, yeah, had it, tried it, didn't work, that's an opportunity for uniqueness for me. If I believe in the product's notion idea, was it, it wasn't sold properly, it wasn't presented properly. I try and look at all of that when I'm looking at unique things. And again, not every product is unique. Sometimes it is a transactional product. And so to that end, there are some times where it's like, I've got this unique opportunity. It fits for a portion of my clientele. Okay, I'll take the transactional feedback as opposed to my overall philosophy of here's where I want to be as a brand, as a business. There are variations. Again, I like to use the seasonality of some things. There are times when I'm looking for, I don't want to lose this because I was closed off sometimes.
Mm.
Because I think I'm a pretty particular in my judgment. And I like to be a quick, you know, I'm a yes, I'm a no, I'm putting time into something. It's really got to make sense. And so if I'm on, the uncertain side of it, I'm absolutely going to reach out. I reach out to you, I reach out to others who I believe have a similar thought process and standard for their brands. So I would just say for me,
Yeah, I can see
I'm
that.
not making a decision one way or the other, but I'm certainly taking their data, their feedback. I'm also looking, and I love that you said you move things around in the store because what a unique way to find out that customers are coming in specifically looking for that. That's such a great call out. You didn't get rid of the product, you moved it. You didn't turn it into a, Easter egg hunt. You strategically, as a business operator, said, I'm going to move it over here and I'm going to put something else where it was. Now I'm getting, multiple products looked at. And I'm sure knowing you, you had a method to your madness,
Mhm.
even beyond that, that I haven't, shared. So maybe share a little bit of that because I like that concept a lot.
Well, I would tend to do it with things when you have something that you believe in a lot that doesn't sell, that doesn't get the response that you want. Placement is everything.
Yes.
So, there are two very important, there's many, but there's two very important things that are super critical in a retail store, and that is merchandising and placement. And placement means, for example, you have something that maybe you place it in its category and people just look right past it. Can't get any traction with it. Tell people about it, you lead them over to it. Just there's just no positive response. So you take it and you isolate it into something that will be more eye-catching as its own little display. Maybe that's not right either. Um, you then turn around and you put it in the last place that it should go. Something that's not categorical, something that doesn't fit, because, one of these things is not like the other, jumps out at people. And people, the numbers of times, Robert, that people have said, "Oh, is that new?" And I'd be
Yeah.
like, "Nope." And they go, "Oh,
As
no,
of
that's
10
new."
years ago, absolutely, that was new.
Well, it wouldn't be that long, but oh yeah, but they go, "Oh no, that's new. No, you haven't had that." We'd have full on discussions, and I'm thinking the whole time, I ordered it. I'm the one who ordered it, got it in, paid for it, put it in place. I know how old it is, and they're like, "No, we've had it for 6 months.
Yeah. We've been carrying that for
Seriously,
years.
you've
Yeah.
had it? Yeah." This is why I move things around. And I will tell clients that this is why I move
Yeah.
things around because you wouldn't have seen it. Because there's, in my particular store too, I had a ton of merchandise. I mean, that's part of what made my store so unique was that I had my merchandising was literally floor to ceiling. And so it was no small feat to move anything. It was a big deal to move things around. And it was people would come in and spend time looking because they'd go around several times. I personally like stores like that. Other people, it might annoy them, but I like going in where I have to go around a few times to take everything in because there's so much stuff. It's like I'm looking over here. I totally missed what was here and what was here. So I got to come back around to look at those areas, or I did the outer perimeter and didn't look at the middle. Um, I've done that in some grocery stores. We have a huge central market grocery store here. And the way it's laid out, it's like I need to go around several times to take everything in because it's just they merchandise the heck out of their floor plan at this particular store. And it's entertaining for me. It's I see a lot of things. I get to take some time and read about it. And a lot of my clients were that way. Other clients would say, I'm looking for this category. Okay, let me take you over there. I take them over
Right.
to the main category and show them. And mind you, anything that I spotlighted in an off area would also be in its category. So there would be a representation of it there. So I didn't have to, people didn't have to chase me around the store, but it would also be in a spotlight area. And spotlight areas are random. But it had just amazing measurable success doing that, taking it out of its norm and putting it into an abnormal, and getting the response, being able to sit there and, see the response of people going, oh, and looking at it. It's like, yes, that was worth it. And you turn a product that doesn't move all of a sudden into a hot item. And now
Right.
people are looking for it. And it's like, okay, you get to stay product A, and I'm going to keep you now in your category so people know where to find you. And we can spotlight 10 other things instead.
Sure.
So that works great.
Yeah, and so I think from that uniqueness standpoint, I want to drive this home because, folks, I hope you all were thinking what I was thinking.
Uh-oh.
What was unique was not the products in the store, because you could probably find those products in another store in the
Oh,
US.
sure.
What was unique was you, your staff, the approach you were taking with those products. That approach is what gave the product then unique opportunity to be discovered, to be discussed, to be bought, and then to make a difference in the beings' lives that we all purchase these products for. So to me, you got there not in the way that I thought you were going to. I'm gonna be honest, but that is the thing I want to drive home. And I want to drive that home for vendors as well, because I think vendors do a disservice quite often to their distributor partners, their store partners, because they'll have one element that they think is so unique that it should just sell itself. And that's not how it works. As you just heard, in all that you're doing, it's more than just, oh my gosh, this has the latest X, Y, or Z. And I can remember so many different variations of this. It's like, oh, this is great because it's got an enzyme that will break it down while it's in the pet's mouth, and that way the absorption rate is this and that. That's important, but that's not the only reason they're going to purchase this product. They've got to know about it, right? Because just because you have a little blurb on your packaging, or maybe you put out a press release in the moment. And I think this is the other thing that I liked about what you said, where someone's coming in quick because they want something, and now they've got to search for it. Lorin, I don't want to have to be exposed to 25 other things. Can you just tell me where it's at? I love it. That's one of the simplest things. And yet I find, because I'll do that myself, I'm very busy. And I'll call ahead to certain stores that I go to at a regular basis. And it surprises me many times. I always know if I've got somebody new on the phone when I'll be like, hey, this is Robert. I shop there quite a bit, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to be coming by on my way home. Could you have at the front counter these two or three things? Because I'm going to be in a rush. And if I hear oh, well, it'll be there on the, shelving for you, as
Ah,
opposed to, oh yeah, no, not a problem, Mr. Summer. We'll pull that for you. We'll have it up at the front, get you in and get you out. We'll have it all ready to go. That's uniqueness. Because the reality is, if they won't do that, I'm probably either not buying from them, or then I'm pivoting away to where I get
where
what
you're appreciated, to where
yeah,
you're appreciated, remembered.
and
We would
valued.
have
Yeah,
people
my
pull
time is
up.
as valuable as a customer
Yes.
as your time is as the company I am dealing with, making a purchase from, etc. That customer service element is a huge uniqueness, more so than ever these
Yeah.
days.
We
More
could
so
see
than ever.
people pull up in the parking lot, and by the time they hit the store door, I already had their food or whatever sitting at the counter. I'd see them pull up. I recognize the car. I'd be running down the aisle, go grab their food. Because some clients, they're always like that.
Right.
And they always only buy one or two things. There's nothing else that they're interested in. When they're interested, they're going to come in when it's not the end of the workday. They're going to come in on a Saturday or something. They don't have any time to do anything except pay for their stuff and get out. And I'll have it sitting right there. The first couple of times that happens, the client, I go, I got your food. I got it right here. And they're like, oh, you remember what I saw? What I buy? Well, yeah. I mean, it's not that hard. You buy one thing all the time. I can't get you to rotate. Come on, and I have it up there. And it's so funny to me. The second or third time after that, they don't even bother. They just come to the counter. They expect it to be there,
Right.
because now they've gotten that level of customer service that has become the new norm.
Well,
And
and
go ahead.
I'll just say, and if you think about it, that's what the online folks are doing with the subscribe and save and
Yep.
hey, you want this once a month, every 3 months, every 6 months. That's that same thing. And so when you look at, oh, they're killing me with this, how can you then implement that? Whether you're a brand, whether you're a distributor, whether you're a store, because the consumer notices those things.
Mhm.
And so I love that you called that out.
So what you were saying before is that I was unique in my uniqueness.
You are unique in your uniqueness, so much so that instead of piggybacking, I went with piggytailing. So I am going to continue to piggytail on this because I do want to say this. The other thing that you do when you rotate it and move those products around was you were putting thought back into that brand. And I like that as a manufacturer. One of the things that would pop up quite often is, well, we've had you on the shelf. And I would ask them, and you and I don't think we've ever actually had this conversation. So this is a unique one, folks. Put a pin in this one. Um, I'd say, well, where has it been in your store? What section is it in? Or I put it in the, X or Y. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's great. Have you done anything to highlight it? I mean, we'll work with you. Maybe we want to do something. Well, yeah, no, it's there. I mean, people know when they come in. No, they don't. That's a bad assumption. I don't even assume that when they're ordering it off of the website
Mm-mm.
directly, and I know your store was not like that. And I do want to thank you because after about the third time of you and your staff running up and locking the door as you saw me in the parking
Oh,
lot,
stop it.
um, uh,
Manufacturers never asked me whether or not I moved my product ever.
yeah,
They never did. They
so
knew it moved around
okay, you
all
had
the
moved.
time.
Okay, yeah. Because I was gonna say that's where everybody can help each other out. It's just I think it's so important what you said, the merchandising and where you place things and how you're displaying them. Oh my gosh, that is so
So
important.
let's talk about the displaying, because this is how my mind works. I look at everything especially when I had a store, I look at everything. How can I utilize that? How can I make that work? And it didn't matter what it was. I went with a friend to an American Girl store.
Okay.
I don't have kids that are two-legged. So I went in and I was like, oh, wow, this is dolls at a whole new level. I was thoroughly entertained because of the merchandising and the way they had it together and how they had their concierge service set up, and just their tea room, all this stuff. I
Oh,
was
yeah.
mesmerized. You've got daughters.
I've got
Um,
daughters. Yeah.
yeah.
I
So
don't go
so
on a
and I
reservation.
think this was somewhere in, I want to say Santa Monica or something like that. But it's a big store, multiple levels, and I was just sort of blown away. But every time I looked at something, I was like, I became concierge level. an American Doll because, for example, I did things like I bought the horse, I bought the corral, I bought the Western doll. I bought, all the, I don't think I bought the doll. I take that back. I didn't buy any actual dolls. I bought all the Western themed stuff, and then I took products in the store and I Western themed my windows with them. I bought the tree house, and we used it as a tree house. We did, some merchandising stuff in the window with that and some products, because dogs and cats are kids too. But my husband said, why don't we, I mean, it's a big commitment. That's a big buy, that
Yeah.
particular display. He said, why don't I make that into a tiki hut? So he did some adjustments to it and made it into a tiki hut. We got little tiki torches. We did a whole summer theme. We did it with summer themed items, certain toys and stuff like that. We did this whole thing, these great big two of these windows. And we did all this stuff. When I had beds and we did bedding stuff, I used American Doll beds in the window. And part of the reason was because where my windows face, they face south. And so my options were to completely cover my windows and then nobody could see in. And I didn't want to do that because my greatest joy was watching dogs come up to any of the windows or the doors, the glass doors, put their front feet up and be like, we're going in. We're going in, right? We're going in. I know where I'm at. And I love that so much to see that I didn't want to block that. I didn't want to keep people from seeing any of the inside of the store or the merchandise. And so I had to do something that didn't ruin my product. And the American Doll stuff is all made of plastic and it's durable and that kind of thing. So thinking outside of the box, back in the day when I had a particular line of food that had a campfire stew and some other things, I got, the barbecue stuff and did things
Sure.
like that. And just thinking outside of the norm and integrating what would normally be for human type things for kids or whatever, and integrating that into your window and putting your stuff with that really changed it. People loved it. They got excited by it. They came in and asked about it. They saw things in a different light, just not doing the norm. We all did this, stick the dog mannequin in the window and put clothes on it,
Sure.
or put it in front of a bowl or put a leash and collar on it. Those are the norm. Think
Right.
outside the norm on how you're going to display stuff, how you're going to merchandise it, what you're going to put it with. And a big thing inside, because I know we're going to run out of time here, is, and we'll get into this more when we get into the cleanliness thing,
Yeah.
is please, please, please neaten up your merchandising. Make your products track. There's great Zen-like joy in looking down an aisle of cans and seeing all the cans lined up perfectly in the front, where all the product is faced exactly the right way. It's all nice and neat. It's the same height, all that sort of thing. People notice. It's very shoppable when it's nice and neat and orderly and clean. They want to mess it up. I want them to mess it up because if they're messing it up, they're buying things and I have to go back and I have to face product and rotate and all that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, and on that, I'm going to say we are going to do a lot more about marketing and different things that you all can be doing because so key. I just am going to throw in this one little sprinkle thing, and that is we buy things all too often that we don't need. Why do we do that? Because of how it makes us feel.
That's
When
me.
yeah, yes. Although now that I know that, I may not be, you and Kelly, I'm not sure if you still have all those dolls. I'm just thinking of, hey, Rob, can you get up in the attic and grab that box? Not if those dolls are up there. I'm out.
I still have all that stuff. I've got to put it up for sale and move it out with some little girl have or something, but
Yeah.
I got all that stuff.
No, it's funny. And that is a tradition of being a girl dad. Um, I've been there. It reminds me of when I won't give the brand their due, but I'll just say the putting the stuffing into things and
Mm.
then they sew it up, and here's your birth certificate. I'll never forget going, that is brilliant. But I have one. I have one right here over my shoulder from my favorite football team. That was my gift. So marketing, positioning, product placement, all those. I want to get that. That is so important. And if you're a brand, you should be working with your stores, especially those who are looking to be unique, to do unique things. And so
Personalize it.
yeah,
Personalize
personally,
your
oh,
store.
yeah, I love that. That'll be an episode we do, if not threefold, the three-part. We might have to do some of these so that we don't have to piggytail, as I've
Weird.
misnamed that. But if you've got a great suggestion, and
Yeah,
I
even
know,
if you don't agree with us, we want to hear
yeah,
it. It's cool.
yeah,
There's no wrong answer here.
yeah, send us an email, practicalpetchat@gmail.com. Visit our website, put a comment into the comment section on any of the social media outlets that you follow us all on. There's so many of them, it's hard to keep track of them these days. So hopefully we will get to it. But thank you all. We know how important your time is. We hope you're getting some good laughs, but also some great information and just things that get your mind turning, because that's why we're doing this. We
And if you
want to see
send
you
us a
succeed.
great idea, we'll talk about it on a podcast
Absolutely.
so we can share it with others.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all. We'll see you at the next episode.
See you guys. Thank you.
The content of this podcast is for informational purposes only. It is not intended as, nor should it be construed as, professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment for your pets. Always seek the advice of a qualified veterinarian with any questions you may have regarding your pet's health or medical condition. Never disregard professional veterinary advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard on this podcast. The hosts and the guests of this podcast are not liable for any actions taken based on the information shared during these episodes. Any reliance on the information provided is solely at your own risk. Copyright 2025 Practical Pet Chat, all rights reserved. Unauthorized duplication, distribution, or reproduction of any content from this podcast, including but not limited to audio, scripts, and show notes, is prohibited without prior written consent. The opinions and views expressed by the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of Practical Pet Chat.